good evening, Miss Esther. I am
Good
Catherine from
evening.
TABIIB, and I am very much honored to, welcome you in this live session. We are so glad that you have given us the time and opportunity to be with us today. So, yes, just to give a quick overview about Miss Esther, as an adolescent and adult psychologist in here in UAE. There are few questions that some of the people would like to ask Miss Esther during this kind of pandemic. How are we dealing about anxiety and stress during this pandemic? I would like to start that question asking you about it, Miss Esther. If you can give us an overview about yourself, that would be great as well.
Okay, so let me start with an overview of myself. My name is Esther John. I'm a clinical psychologist. I am an Indian by birth and I have been born and raised in Dubai. I see clients across all nationalities. I help clients with issues like depression, bipolar, anxiety, panic attacks, phobias, and we also work with a few relationship issues time and again. Along with that, of course, I work with clients, have various other things that they need help with. So can be stress management, can be perfectionism. It
Right.
can be how they could regulate their emotion in a more, appropriate manner. So these are some of the things that I do as part of my practice.
All right. So yes, thank you for that, Miss Esther. Actually, this time around, it's like pandemic and global crisis. So people are in experiencing different kinds of struggles, like challenges. How to deal with anxiety and stress? If you can give us some tips about it, how to handle it.
Okay, so one is to not, and I mean the first and the most important thing is that during the pandemic brought a lot of uncertainty in our lives. That
Correct.
means I could no longer plan that I want to go and meet this person or have a birthday party, or
Exactly.
maybe yes, and maybe I want to go to the mall, but I don't. I am scared for
Yes,
health
that kind
reasons.
of, yeah, for health reasons, like you're a bit scared going outside because you will feel like, oh, COVID is there, something like that. How
Yes.
to deal with all those things?
So one, of course, is to follow all the precautions that the government of Dubai has put in place.
Right.
And the second, of course, is to be mindful. So what is it, so you are going out, you're taking your precautions, you're maintaining your social distancing, but not going out or choosing to withdraw from friends and families can be or can have like a negative impact on our mental well-being as a person. I'd
Right.
say it's good to go out with people who are not affected or infected in any way. And the second thing, of course, at home, there are certain things that we can do. And now, as you know, a lot of family members who are not used to staying at home are now sitting at home. So the good
Correct.
news, yes, and the good news is that, we can have family members to support each other. So now one common thing is the mothers of the house, they have a lot more stress because they have to serve everyone on their
Yeah.
tables, or maybe the father of the house has taken the child's table for his Zoom meetings. uh, the
Right.
child the child is in the dining table, and the child is trying to do its homework and online school, and the mom
Mhm.
is spending much more time than she does in the kitchen, or maybe she's involved in more household activities like cleaning, or other activities at home. So it's good, first thing that we need to do is we need to respect each other's boundaries,
All
and
right.
not um, and also we should be mindful of not putting all the responsibilities of the house or the household chores into one person. It would be good if family members can divide their responsibilities. So that is to ensure the work life balance at home. and also to dedicate a certain amount of time with our family members. So previously it was we all come back from our respective routines in the evening and we have dinner
Yes.
together. But
Mm-hmm.
now it is maybe people are having Zoom meetings and virtual meetings, and it starts at 8:30 in the morning, it goes all the way up to 9. So
Correct.
if you're unable to have dinner for some reason because you're busy with work, maybe you can schedule some time, say between 9 to 9:30, where you're having family time with each other. When I say each other, you have time with couple, and even you have time with your children if you have children around,
Right.
that way there is bonding. Of course, there is limitations with bonding with certain friends if your friends are far away, but
Mm-hmm.
even with that, there is, what has been said is we need to isolate ourselves, or keep a distance physically, but you don't have to stay away from the person completely. So you can choose to
Correct.
keep in contact through phone, through text. You can have
Video
face to
calls.
face meetings, yes, video
Right.
conferencing. So those are effective ways to stay in touch. Another effective way to keep your own mental stability at pace is to journal. So you can write down how you're
Okay.
feeling. Yes,
Right.
because writing down is a form of therapy in itself. It's good to
Okay.
write
I've
because
been doing that actually.
yes, that's very nice. Because when you write, what we're essentially doing is we can go back after a few months and look at what we have written in the month of September, and you'll be like, "Oh, I feel this way." You know,
Right.
this is how strongly I felt about this challenging situation. And maybe
Yep.
you don't feel as strongly as you do from the past when you go back. So self reflection is very important. Writing down your thoughts, because when we think about our thoughts and we have so many thoughts in our mind,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for us. But when we put it down on paper, we are kind of giving it the space that it needs to channel it. You're putting it down, and then you can kind of reflect on it. You can see what triggers your anxiety, or what is it that makes me stressed out, you know.
Right.
And with stress, because we are talking about the pandemic and how we can deal with the pandemic, the most
Yes.
important thing is, sometimes we have to accept that we are in tough times. So acceptance
Yes.
is very,
Acceptance
very
is very
important.
important.
Like how they say we have to accept the new normal. So if
That
you
is
accept something,
true.
if you are able to accept the new normal and
Mm-hmm.
not be in this form of denial, then it becomes it makes it more easier, and less challenging to deal with. And of course, another very important point is our attitude. So how do I feel?
Mm-hmm.
Do I feel anxious sometimes? Yes. But do I always feel anxious to the point that I don't want to continue with my daily activities or my daily life? Then of course it is good to seek a mental health professional. So that
Right.
means there is interference. So the anxiety is not just a feeling of anxiety, but it's more of
Mm-hmm.
a clinical anxiety. Or if your stress levels are very high,
Very
so it's
high.
good. Yeah, then it's
It's
good to
very
see some.
important, yeah, to see someone like a professional,
Yes,
to seek a professional help, because
yes,
mental health is very important actually.
yes, absolutely. And we believe in that. And there are support groups, there are individual therapy. There are different ways we can help someone in who needs the mental health, the right support. And
Right.
sometimes it is our perspective. So yes,
Right.
now we are in this challenging situation. But 2 years or 3 years from now, this is going to be dusted, this is going to be over, and we're
Right.
going to move on with our regular lives. So
Exactly.
sometimes it is good to not overthink, to not procrastinate, to
Mhm.
not give up easily. That
Right.
keeps us to move forward, to have hope.
It's basically we need to have this particular optimism. Like we should
Yes,
always be positive.
but not to the point that we want to be toxically positive,
Mm-hmm.
where everything is negative and you're still trying to make it very positive. No, we
Right.
want positivity, but with an element of reality.
Reality.
You know,
Correct.
yes, with
Correct.
an element of reality. And next, of course, is sometimes, we want to do things, but we're not willing to take action. So taking action is very, very important.
Correct.
And that is vital. Not Don't put up your tasks,
Mm-hmm.
don't pile up your tasks.
Right.
Another very important thing, when now that we are on Zoom, that I can think of is, a lot of people don't get fully dressed for their meetings. So it's like so they are half dressed. So
That is
you just
very true.
Yes, and that's like, so your the first half which can be seen is formal wear, and then you're maybe wearing your shorts, or you're wearing something
I'm
else.
wearing jeans right now.
Yes, so it's it's good if you can dress informal. I will tell
Right.
you why. So let me explain a bit about that. So we need, human beings, even when we construct a house, why we essentially have a living room or a bedroom or a dining room is because we associate each activity to a particular room and to certain things that we do in that room. So it's very important for us to dress up, to help us know that, okay, I'm not traveling to work, but I'm going to work. This
Right.
is
It's like a
so,
mindset thing.
yes, more like a mental transition. And so you can transit to your role as a person who's working with TABIIB. And then
Right.
so you dress completely, like from top to bottom with your shoes on. And once you're done, you change. That
Right.
helps you. And if it's done on a laptop or a monitor, you kind of cover it. So you know that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now work is done. And
Right.
you change your clothes to your home clothes. That way you know that, okay, I've completed my work and I'm now switching to my home role, you
Right.
know
I think so. That's
and
very important tip from you, Miss Esther. I
thank
think
you.
so. Some people would be like, since they're all working from home, it would be just like fine, like wearing pajamas and all. I think so. That's fine
Yes,
also. But I think so. This particular tip is very much like, helpful in such a way that you're setting your boundaries, like, you're having that work-life balance, like, home and work, even though you're working from home.
yes, absolutely. And we need that work life balance, because now what is happening is a lot of people are not having the work life balance. Coming to work life balance, the most important thing is a lot of people are working overtime. That means they are doing more tasks, taking less personal breaks, no
Right.
lunch break, no
Mm-hmm.
annual leave, no sick leave, and they are, you can say, 17 to 18 hours they are spending in front of the laptop. So what
Correct.
happens as a result is that, okay, in my conversation with you, it's just you and me. But ideal Zoom meeting would have 10 or maybe even more people. Now,
That's true.
when that happens, I have to read everybody's body language and visual clues, and we need to change, because change, it helps for the mental clarity. And what I was essentially discussing is the overtime working. When you're working, you're doing overtime. So if you are not taking personal breaks, if you have a Zoom meeting that is with 10 and 15 people and it goes on for 2 hours or 3 hours, then you have another Zoom meeting with maybe another department. So
Correct.
essentially what is happening is you're physically drained.
I think so. That's happening to everyone.
Yes, so it is very important to take breaks. It is okay to go, maybe you can stop video once in a while when the video is being done. You can excuse yourself. It's good to take breaks. So people are taking less breaks, but maybe they're doing more work. They are
Right.
not taking their annual leaves because they're like, why should I take an annual leave when I can't travel back to my country, or I
Correct.
don't want to
To
go
risk
back
also.
yeah, yes, a lot of people don't want to travel now, even though flights are open now.
Mhm.
So essentially it's good to, like, take breaks, set your boundaries at work. What is your work time? Try to stick to that work time. That will be very beneficial. And a very important thing is self talk. So what kind of talk do
Self-talk.
I Yes, so are you talking to yourself in a positive way, or are you talking to yourself in a negative way? So,
I
you
think so.
know,
I'm doing both sometimes.
yes, I think we all do both at certain times, and I
Mhm.
think that's okay. But if there's more negative and there's less positive, then there is, there's something that has to be addressed. But if it's
Okay.
like a balance of both, obviously you can't be positive all the time. And
True.
this is a pandemic, which means we don't know what is going to happen next. So even with that, but you need to have positivity with an element of reality, but you don't want to be too negative at the same time.
Right.
Yes. And the most important thing I think that a lot of people are having trouble with is time management. So I know that,
Time
um,
management.
yes. So a lot of people are, they don't have a routine or a structure because there's no fixed work timings now. You don't have to commute to work. So
Right.
maybe the time spent in commuting is you're sleeping at home, you're just, when you have to join your Zoom meeting, you're getting up in 5 minutes. Maybe you're skipping breakfast. So all of these are what we say unhealthy patterns, you know.
Okay.
Yes, it would be nice to have a routine. So for those who have trouble maintaining a routine, maybe you can take a piece of paper and you can put in the hour, the number of hours that we have in a day, and the days of the week, and then you can kind of schedule it accordingly. Once in a while, definitely it's good to do something out of your routine. And in your routine, it's very important to have time set aside for self care. Self care is not the kind of self care that we see on Instagram, but, more of the self care that involves physical, emotional, spiritual,
It's pretty.
professional, and psychological self care. So, when you combine all these forms of self care and do a self care activity each day, that promotes to our mental well being. There is a saying that if I'm not happy, I can't keep other people happy. And that is
That's
the
true.
state. That is the state with our mental well being. So we need to be happy, we need to be content. Our emotional well being has to be balanced
Mhm.
for us to help others, and it is good to not pile up tasks towards the end. So there's a
Right.
lot of piling up that happens. It's good to be organized, but not to be excessively organized,
Mhm.
you know and it's good to make lists, but when you make a to-do list, it's good to see how much time does one item on the list takes. You
Right.
don't need to have 15 items on your to-do list, but if you have 4 items and maybe the first 2 items, they take considerable amount of time, that's okay. you know and after each activity that you do, you can celebrate in some way possible. A lot of things are pending, sometimes at work, sometimes in our social life or in our spiritual life. But when we're able to achieve our steps, it's very important to praise ourselves, to celebrate,
To celebrate.
and it's celebrate in whatever little way is possible, but don't not celebrate it and just kind of move on to the next activity or task. So that's what happens. We're living in Dubai, it's very fast paced. We like to
Very much.
plan things. Yes,
Mhm.
we like to plan things. So if it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to work and I have a leave on Friday and Saturday. Okay, let's plan to go to this place. But when the lockdown was there, you can't go out, so you were at home.
True. Yep.
So it's good to kind of see what you can do even when you can't plan things, when things are not in your control. So if you have this fear of uncertainty, or you don't like it when you can't plan things to the point that it bothers you, disrupts your mood, your relationships at home, then it is good to see a mental health professional.
Professional. Correct.
Yes. And it is very important to keep the balance. Like I said, we need to keep the balance at home, but we also need to keep our balance at work. So it's good to stick to a strict timetable, stick to your work timings more or less, And sometimes it's also good to say no. A lot of people don't say no and accept more and more work.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it,
Like it tends to, like, what happens is that like people would always just like say yes, but they are scared of saying no because they're thinking like, what would people say about me if I say no? That kind of, I
yes,
think so, instances.
yes.
So it's
And that is,
okay to say no as well, right, Miss Esther?
yes, it is. Yes, absolutely. It is okay to say no, because saying no means you're teaching the other person to respect your boundaries. When
Boundary.
I'm, yes, because we don't want to keep saying yes to activities when I'm tired and I feel exhausted, right?
Mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm.
I would not be able to give my best. That would make me feel frustrated or disappointed, and would make me feel like, oh, I'm not good enough or I'm not capable enough. Well, that's
Right.
not true. Maybe you're feeling tired or you're not feeling okay at that moment, and at that point, yes, you wouldn't want to go ahead with that task or activity, and I think that is absolutely fine. And another very important area is communication. Am I able to communicate how I feel to my family
Right.
members? Or, so some people, maybe family is there, but everybody is in their own rooms. So
Mm-hmm.
they're not communicating with a lot of people. So communication is essential. Now, even if you're living in a shared accommodation or a shared space, it's good to speak to people around you, to your roommates, rather than spending a lot of time on your phone
Mm-hmm.
watching some video on Instagram or watching something on Facebook. It's good to interact with each other. So, kind of talk to each other, not to judge them, not to call them names, not to be critical, but just
But
to
to have a
listen.
conversation with them.
Yes, to have, and not even just any conversation, but like a more deep and meaningful conversation, right? And
Right.
it's good. And the most important thing that I think kept a lot of people going was their support system. So, the bonds that you have with people, it can be people at work, it can be people at home. So how are they able to create a network and kind of obtain the care and support that they need? Sometimes even expressing your negative feelings in an appropriate manner, that can also make way for positivity. Like even telling your friends that, hey, I'm tired today, I had this
Right.
long day.
Mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm.
makes a huge difference. But maybe you don't want to go for a movie, but maybe you can watch the same movie together in different spaces, and your friend is
Different
on
space.
Zoom. Yes, your friend is on Zoom, and maybe you can laugh about it. you
Mm-hmm.
know we can always find different ways to keep in touch with the people we love. Now, when I say people we love, it doesn't only mean family. It can be friends or people who are close to your heart, or
Right.
anyone. Yes. So building a support system is very, very
Very
essential.
important.
Yes. And it's good to kind of, listen to people, talk to people. But at the same time, if you feel like the Zoom meetings are very long and very draining, it's good to kind of like switch off your camera and then maybe only listen
Mm-hmm.
to the conversation that is happening. And then maybe after a certain while, you can come back online. But coming back to work, I will say a lot of people have not taken their leaves. So it's good to just take a vacation. Now, when you say
Right.
vacation, you don't have to essentially go somewhere or
Mm-hmm.
travel to a place. Vacation can just be, okay, I'm not going to work for the next 20 or 30 days. I'm
Right.
going to be at home and I'm going to relax.
Yeah, like not thinking about work for those like, days and all.
Yes, absolutely. Kind of taking a break from work and doing things that you enjoy. So it's a
Correct.
break, but at home.
But at home, yes.
Yes.
I think
And
so. The tips that you were giving are very much like, helpful and like, important for all the people who will be able to see this video. Do you want to add some more, Miss Esther?
yes, absolutely. I'd like to say it's good. So, time and again, when we sit at home with everyone, obviously there is going to be arguments, clashes, sometimes fights. So, it is good to take a time out.
Okay.
A time is to move out of that space that you're angry. You go off somewhere, calm yourself, emotions down. Think about what you want to say, so you can express your anger, but you express it more appropriately without yelling, screaming, or throwing objects. um, it's also good to make time to laugh at yourself and even at the things that are being done, you know.
Right.
And it's also good to kind of do some kind of relaxation exercises, physical exercises
Very
within what
important.
is. Yes, it's very important to do it, because with anxiety, physical exercise is very good, as well as relaxation exercises. But it's good to do these exercises on a daily basis, to feel more calm and to kind of enable us to move forward in life.
Right. That is very important, really. Having exercise during this pandemic, it's very important to stay fit and healthy. And also we
Yes.
should always take care of ourselves, because at the end of the day, we don't want to get sick and we want to be healthy all the time. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, I think so. It's really how do I say that one? An honor to speak to you, Miss Esther, because you have given us so many tips and things which we can, which people could apply to their day-to-day activities, especially for people right now who are working from home, and not only those people who are working from home, who are also working in the office and all. They can use these tips for them to help themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is our message here. We are here to help,
Yep.
and I hope these tips are useful to everyone who is listening to me.
Seek professional help, mental health professional, in Open Minds. You can always find them on the website, and you can book them through TABIIB as well. Thank you so much, Miss Esther.